Okay, video one of two that should give prospective buyers an insight into the layout of my property I have for sale in Katselovo. Okay, starting here, this is the valley with the stream that borders the extreme east of my property, and although you probably can't see it, down in the valley there is water. And coming back up and round, this is my fruit tree avenue. Because I have had a variety of different animals while I've been here, I put up the metal fence for the dogs' safety and to keep them inside the main garden. But I've kept this area clear. It's got a whole multitude of different fruit trees. Some years are better than others, and it's still quite interesting to see some trees that come through and produce fruit that I haven't had in previous years. And the natural border of the property is a natural hedge you can see running to the left. Walking back through my makeshift gate, and just as a matter of interest, that's made up of 3 of the original windows that were in the main house when I first bought the property. I didn't like them particularly, and they certainly didn't keep any wind or rain in its entirety out, but I've made a feature of a couple, and I've kept several, and the UPVC alternatives that I had commissioned were completely bespoke and designed to be in keeping with the originals as far as possible. That's my nearest neighbour there, just collecting some fruit. They give me fruit and vegetables throughout the year, and I reciprocate when I can. There's a coppice of wild oric, wild chestnut there. A lot of people don't like them because they can be very invasive, but I've made sure that they just stay to that size, and I quite like their look and the effect. You can see in the centre of the image there the carport that leads out onto the lane, and there's certainly ample space for parking a decent sized vehicle there. Now walking to position myself by the well, which also helps me tell the time each day. If you sit at the front of the house and look out to the well, the sun is directly overhead it at midday and drops down to the right as the afternoon wears on, and it's a good way of being able to tell what time it is. Okay, so now standing in the central part of the garden, and if I alternate round, should give you a good indication, hopefully, of size and a positioning of various things. You'll note that in keeping with the majority of Bulgarian houses that were built around this time, most of the ground floor is about 50% below natural ground level. And that was the case in order to ensure that our downstairs room stayed as cool as possible naturally during the summer, and were equally very easy to heat, and not just that, but retained their heat very well during the winter months. Coming round to the left of the house, my right now, you can see the various outbuildings on that side. I had no choice but to replace all the roof on that section of the property because there had been a lot of ivy ingress and a lot of broken tiles, and I wanted to ensure that it was completely watertight. And you'll see immediately to the side of the house the summer kitchen area. spend most of my time cooking here between about April and November. Again, there's an example of one of the original windows that I kept and used just as a feature, along with various bits and pieces that I found in various rooms when I was undertaking the restoration work. You can see there's a large clay oven, which is an original feature, behind a spinning wheel there. And this area was originally just a mud floor and a mud bench, and I had concreting, damp-proof coursing, and the wooden bench made to go above it. The barn here and the old Ottoman era house, which is classed as a second property, are still in very good condition for their age. The only work I've had here done though is some work on the roof to preserve it as much as possible. Equally some work on the external walls, especially to the far side, which you can't actually see at the moment, just to make sure that they are preserved with a view to, had I been staying here and once my pension had kicked in or I'd come into money by other means, I would have looked into having these restored too. Similar size overall to the main house, and as I say, still classed as a property in its own right. I did consider having it recategorised as agricultural buildings, but decided against because it's far easier to turn these rooms into residential once more without the need for seeking additional planning permission and the likes by leaving it as it is. Only other features worthy of note here, this end area just had a new wall put up, joining onto what was the original here, with a view to either using this as a barbecue area or whatever else sometime in the future. The back gate there just leads out to the back of the barn and original Ottoman house, and again you can gain access to the stream and the field at the back of the property. Благодаря. All okay? No. Добре. Да, yeah, няма problem. For you. Yeah. Okay. Ciao, ciao. And here is the outside shower room. Again, fairly basic, but the primary idea here was that should I get to the stage of putting a swimming pool into the area on the grass here, there was already an ideal location and ability for people to take showers and the likes without the need to go into the bathroom in the main property. And again, in the access here, there's already large capacity cold and hot water outlets ready to be plumbed in for a swimming pool should anybody decide to do that. Room adjacent to the bathroom, I'm just using as my workshop at the moment. Large area. You can see the back of the clay oven there. But again, a lot of potential for doing various different things with it. And here an open store area, and adjacent to that another room on stilts, little chicken shed and grain store above, and at the moment that's where the 6.5 kilowatt generator is located. Should the need or preference arise to use that instead of the mains connection. Again, more little rooms for different animals. I kept my donkey in this one, certainly over winter. She preferred it than being out in the garden. And beneath the old Ottoman house, you've got a large single room with various winemaking equipment. And here, another room that would have originally been used for animals with the original trough. And my thinking had been that this room could be easily incorporated into this and the two rooms above at some stage in the future. One particularly interesting feature in this old house, apart from you can really get a feel for what the floors were like not just many years ago in Bulgarian houses, but in many cases what the floors were like in the main house when I first purchased it. There's lots of little character features, particularly like the fireplace and the way that it doesn't only service this room, but it services the room next door as well. And a lot of the little windows that would have had candles positioned in them in order to supply light, not just to the room on one side of them, but the room on the other as well. Simple but effective solutions. And the second little room here, overlooking the valley. And as I indicated, the other side of the singular fireplace and little window as well. Okay, I hope that's given you an insight into the outside layout of the property. Of course, if you have any queries at all, by all means raise them.